incredible how pharmaphobic academic speculation has been. I mean, people just don't want to get near it. And yet, obviously, drugs of all sorts have shaped every aspect of our lives. I'm doing a book for Bantam that will be out next spring sometime, and one of the things about the cultural impact of drugs, psychedelic and non-psychedelic, and one of the things I learned that had never occurred to me was slavery died with the fall of the Roman Empire. It absolutely died. I mean, during the medieval period, if you owned slaves, you owned one slave. It was like owning a Duesenberg or something. It was the absolute proof that you were a person of immense wealth, and then this slave would serve your food or something like that. But the use of slave labor in agriculture was something that was brought back in the 14th century by the Christian gentlemen of Europe, specifically for the production of sugar. No other reason. The stuff which came later, the tobacco and the cotton and all that, that was simply because there was an oversupply of slaves. And so there was a need to soak up all this slave labor. Why sugar? Because it was an addicting drug. Nobody needs white sugar. You can go from birth to the grave and never get near it and never miss it. But sugar is made in open vats in the primitive, the way it was done 500 years ago, at a temperature of about 135 degrees. No free person will work sugar. You have to chain people to the machinery. You literally have to chain them to the machinery, and then they die in short order from heat prostration. In 1800, every ounce of sugar entering England was produced by slave labor, and Western civilization barely had a thing to say about it. And we don't even think of sugar as a drug unless we're very highly sensitized to these issues. But, if you have small children, you just might as well lay out railers of blow if you're going to turn them loose with those Pepperidge Farm chocolate chip cookies. I mean, my God. So I just offer that as an example of our naivete about drugs and our naivete about our own cultural history. I mean, people say, well, slavery, they got rid of it with Lincoln, but it had been going on for thousands of years. No, not at all. It had been dead for 1,000 years, and then it was brought back by the drug trade. And how many steps backward in the process of trying to define and honor the human spirit have occurred because of drugs like sugar, opium, tea, coffee. Look at the caffeine drugs. They're the only drugs on earth that modern industrialists recognize to the point that they write them into contracts with workers. The coffee break. This isn't because they love workers. It's because it makes workers work. And caffeine and the demands of linear industrialism made a marriage in hell, which exists right up to this day with untold consequences in the form of stomach cancer, anxiety, aggressive behavior, you name it. Well, we're over the time. We have piles of questions. I love you all. Stay happy. Take it easy, but take it.